Hello, everyone. Camille here again, back with another Astro Bash speaker interview. Today, we are here with the renowned Lynn Bell, and I'm so happy and grateful to be able to speak with you and hear you talk later on this year. So go ahead and give us a small introduction, and if you want to, you can put your sun, moon, and rising in there as well.
Oh, well, I mean, I think many people know I'm a Gemini. Well, and I'm a double Gemini with a strong 12th house.
Okay.
So I
Nice.
have that very interesting combination of easily communicable, but not all seen at once.
Yeah, yeah. I can relate to that. So tell us about you, what kind of astrology you practice, kind of what you've been doing in the astrological community for the many years that you've been a part of it.
Well, I've done many things. I'm American, but I live in France, and I taught for 20 years for the CPA in London, which was the school that Liz Green started.
Yeah.
Very wonderful place to teach. And I also taught very often in a network in France of people who taught humanistic astrology inspired by Rudyard. And I also know lots of people who come from traditional astrology. And then I think that everything we do in life flows into the astrology we practice.
Absolutely.
So our own inner work, our own spiritual practice, and those, obviously we don't need to mention all of that. But I've been curious about many things and needed to dig very, very deeply. And I like going deeply with my clients. And to see how what I love about the connection between psychological astrology and evolutionary astrology is both are not afraid to go and touch into the deep places, those powerful places that people are carrying within them and holding as best they can. And so I think that's one of the places that we meet.
Yeah, the depth of it all. I completely agree. Because the human experience and humans themselves are so dynamic. And I believe both psychological astrology and EA, as you said, have like the language to be able to like dig in to all those many nuances.
Sure.
Yeah. So you will be at Astro Bash this coming fall. Can you give us a preview into what you will be talking about, most likely?
Well, I'm supposed to be talking about Mars, and particularly Mars in relationship. And I love to talk about Mars because I think people skim over it and don't actually understand what a powerful player it is in your life and in so many things, because it's often functioning outside we like to think that we sometimes we control Mars, but it's kind of like we like to think that Mars is on a leash, but it's not. And so therefore it's a powerful player in a way that's often out of the range of our awareness. And for some people, it's been put aside. We don't want any of that. We only want kindness and understanding, but that's not possible. So it comes up in other forms. So that's one of what I'll be talking about.
I'm looking forward to that. I have Mars in my first house. So Mars is very powerful just for me in general. So it'll be nice to get like a reframing of how that looks, not only in my chart, but in general. So sounds really, really lovely. So this one's kind of a fun one. I've been asking everyone, but is there an astrological misconception out there now that there's been a huge astrology boom? So an astrological misconception that maybe haunts you the most, or that you want to go on record to correct or talk about?
Well, I think it's that every planet doing something is urgent, and it's a kind of, it's exhausting. I think, I mean, obviously it's so wonderful to follow the influences, and I mean, we're speaking with Mars opposition Saturn, right? But and I just spoke to a friend who said, oh, she couldn't do her Zoom and everything went wrong, and
yeah.
But of course, that doesn't mean that's about everything all the time.
Yeah.
And it becomes a little bit, we're living our lives with following these larger cosmic cycles, but we're not like having the strings pulled in our life at every moment, so they're doing something to us. So I think it's that. It's not that the planets are doing this to me.
Yes.
And I'm sure lots of people have said that as their misconception.
No, that's actually the first time, at least in this series, that I've heard that. But yeah, that's so correct, that things won't be wiring and firing constantly all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a really, really beautiful perspective there. Is there anything that you may be looking forward to at Astro Bash, or, what compelled you to want to join us in terms of speaking?
Well, I received a very warm invitation, a really very warm invitation. And I love Stephen Forrest. He's a good friend. And I know I have heard, and the people I've met in your community, is that you have an amazing astrological community and that that the sharing is deep and very warm. And so one of the things is after the pandemic, of course, we all became creatures of Zoom.
Yes.
and being creatures of Zoom is great. It's wonderful. I'm really grateful. And before I did Skype for years.
Yeah.
But I love being with other humans, and there is a sort of a grace and a gift in the presence of students. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. And I also hear we're going to be in a very beautiful place.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of my main motivations, is the ability to look out at the sky and not have light pollution, which I've never experienced personally.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm looking forward to that. And also, as you said, the connection between humans. It's not just learning, of course, that's part of it, but it's also kind of the warmth and connection and the nourishment that you can kind of get from those connections. So that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great. And I was teaching at Omega in June. And it had that quality,
nice.
of a small group coming together.
Yes, the smallness makes that more conducive, right? To getting actually to sit down and talk and connect to the human being in front of you.
Sure.
Well, last thing here, where can people find you? Anything upcoming, or any kind of classes that you may want to share or put out there so people
there is one. I'm at lynnbellastrology.com. So you can find lots of recordings and stuff. And one thing I am going to be doing starting in September is a series on family patterns. And I wrote a book called Planetary Threads, and have done a lot of work on looking into family issues. And so I'm very excited about it because I haven't done it for Astrology University before. Yes. And I'll do a 3-part series this is of course online, in late September, late October, and early December. So that'll be great. And then I'll do another one for MISPA, the other school I teach for, that's in the UK, early next year. So on siblings probably. So I'm doing a whole series, and I love to do things. And then because I'm a Gemini, if I do the same thing all the time, I get bored. So I do things. Sounds like Gemini.
Yes, I'm a Gemini rising and Gemini Mars. That's
okay. Mars. There you go. There you go. And then I love to do things, and then I need to step away from them and come back to them. And I love them just as much, but I always need a little space in between my periods of passion.
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm
yes.
very excited about that series. So.
Yeah, that sounds really, really fascinating. Can't wait to like tune in. That's something that's so interesting to me to see how the patterns between even me and my brother and my mom line up. But I need the language and, of course, the wisdom to be able to interpret that. So that's really, really
Sure,
exciting.
great. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn, for
You're
jumping on
welcome,
with us
Queenie.
to give us a little bit of a talk and an intro into who you are. I appreciate that. And
Great.
for everyone watching, you can go ahead and go to astro-bash.com, continue to register for this lovely conference before spots are filled.
Great.
I hope to see you there, and I'll see you there
Yes,
too,
me
Lynn.
too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.